Hello, my name is Pancho Abello, and I'm an extension economist for Texas A&M AgriLife Extension Service here in Vernon, Texas. Today we're going to talk about organic marketing, trends, prices, and characteristics. You can always contact me later if you have any further questions. Just a brief presentation outline. Today we're going to talk about organic market trends, organic market prices, and we are also going to go through the unique organic marketing characteristics that are different from conventional marketing, and we have to consider before we start farming organics. This presentation is intended for farmers who are looking to get into organics in this region of Texas, and we want to be introduced about organics markets and what organics marketing is about. There are different reasons why farmers want to get into organics. Higher value of their unit of production, especially if they are far from their delivery points. Higher net income value. Also because what a farmer might believe is the effect on the environment, effect on our soils. Because you want to stop using chemicals, or you have to stop using chemicals. Produce more healthy foods, produce local and sell local. Because you think it's environmentally friendly, or because you believe it's better for consumers and community, or the economics of it. There are many reasons, but as an economist, one of the important things is to find a way to do it economically sustainable. Which I mean to do it and be sure that pays you so you can keep doing it in the future. And you are able to grow, especially if this is your way of living and supporting your family. Organic products were considered a lifestyle choice for a small segment of their consumers a long time ago, and were only consumed occasionally. Today we can probably find organic choices in every store in the US. Even here in the town where I live, which is a small community, I can find organic products, organic flour, vegetables, and other products in our stores. One segment of the population that actively tried to include organic foods in their diets were the millennials. And just to remember all of you, consumers from this generation were born around the 80s and the 90s. They probably had or are having children now, and they are educating their children into organics. So we can foresee that this increment that we have in organics, it will continue in the future too. Based on the 2019 Organic Industry Survey done by the Organic Trade Association, the US organic market reached about $52 billion in 2018. And it's estimated that in 2019, it's going to reach $56 billion. Organic non-food sales are also important, although not as high as organic food sales. Their percentage growth was much higher than the rest. When we talk about organic non-food sales, we are talking about cotton, fibers, supplement, personal care, pet food, flowers, and many other household products. From 2010 to about 2015, growth rates were about 2 digits, with a minimum of 8.1% in 2010, and we can see also a maximum of 12.3% in 2013. Growth rates during these last 3 years were a little lower, but still important, with an average about 6%. Especially when we compare this growth rate of organics with non-organic total food sales, organic growth average during those years has been about 5 times higher. Organic sales growth was much higher than non-organic sales growth. In 2018, sales growth of total food sales in the US were about 2.3%, while total non-food sales were about 3.7%. During that same year, organic food sales growth in the US was about 5.9%, and organic non-food growth, pet food or cosmetics, were about 10.6%. Organic grains has also been growing consistently, mostly driven by consumer demand of organic cereals, organic flour, breads, and other products. Organic consumptions of livestock, eggs, and dairy products has also driven the demand of organic grains, especially feed grain products. In this graph, we can see the proportion of organic sales. What is the proportion of organics considering all food sales in the US? And almost 6%, 5.7% to be exactly, of the food sold in this country in 2018 was organic. And it has been steady growing since 2009. As we mentioned before, almost all consumers can find organic products in their stores, or farmers markets, or any other retail stores. And there are more companies that are offering organics, and there is more competition too. Organics used to be a niche market, but it's now much bigger with many big players. When we look at the composition of organic products that were sold, fruits and veggies have the highest share of sales from 2018 organic survey that was done by the Organic Trade Association in 2019. Fruits and veggies represent about 36% of the total organic food sales, followed by dairy and eggs, beverages, and packaged prepared foods that have about 13% of the market share each. Below that, we have bread and grains with about 11%. On the other graph we have on our right, we have the organic non-food sales by products. Here, fiber, which is basically cotton, linen, and clothing, has the most important share percentage with about 40%. Then we have organic supplements and the personal care with about 21%, pet food, household items, and flowers that have about 2% each. We just have a brief view about organic market structures and organic market trends. Now we're going to talk about market prices, and we're going to focus on mainly three products: wheat, corn, and cotton. For organic rotations, you might want to include more crops such as milo, alfalfa, peanuts, cover crops, and even livestock. Each of them have their own market and buyers, and before defining the rotation plan, which of course is not fixed and might change in the future, be sure that you understand each market you're getting into, and you know the buyers of those products. Let's start talking about corn prices. To build this graph, I use USDA data that tracks mostly feed organic corn prices, and we also use conventional corn prices from North Amarillo that we have in Texas A&M AgriLife Extension. Now, from 2012 until today, we were able to see a premium in corn prices compared to conventional corn. We had a positive premium every year, and we can see that the premium were more stable after 2016. Now, we don't have it in this chart, but around 2009, there were almost no premiums. So we can see that the recession in the economy might also affect organic prices. The average premium for organic feed corn that was calculated since 2012 is about 2.3 times conventional corn prices for North Amarillo. However, we can observe that this premium is not fixed and had varied during all these years. From 2012 until today, this price have a maximum of about 3.5 times, and that was about July, October 2014, and a minimum of 1.8 times of conventional corn. Of course, organic food corn prices premiums different is higher than organic feed corn, since organic feed corn, we usually use it in the livestock industry and requires less quality. What we can see from this chart is that organic prices do not follow conventional corn future markets. So we cannot use future markets to head our organic production. But we can do is we can use forward contracts. Similarly, in the organic wheat prices, we use organic feed grade prices to compare to local wheat northern rolling prices during harvesting time. Average prices premium obtained were of around 2.2 times the price of the conventional wheat. However, it has been a little higher during these last years because if we do not take into account 2012 and 2013. Prices were about $10 a bushel, organic prices, and a little higher in 2018. This is 2018 estimated price. And again, what we can see on this chart is that organic wheat, organic products, each of them has their own fundamentals, their own supply and demand, and might not follow the fundamentals of conventional products. Organic cotton production is mostly concentrated in West Texas with additional acreage in New Mexico. Organic cotton seed prices range from $400 to $525 per ton, and this compares to $155 to $225 per ton for conventional cotton. Cotton seed is mostly sold to organic dairies and to livestock organic production as a source of protein. Organic cotton prices, like in every other product, depend on the quality of the product. USDA recorded both high and low prices for organic cotton. Very low organic quality cotton can have prices similar to conventional cotton, as we can see what was in 2018. On the other hand, higher quality cotton prices can be almost 3 times higher, as we can probably have seen in 2014. We calculate the premium difference to average prices obtained from the USDA report, and again we average about 2.2 times higher price than conventional cotton on average during 2018 and during these last 10 years. Now, probably market prices now are about 2 times the premium. Now is about 2 times more than the conventional price. We can see that this premium also will vary depending on the quality of the region and as well as the fundamentals of these markets. For all the crops, premium prices are based on good quality standards. Farmers will focus on quality, reliability, clean product, and everything else that will help them to sell their product in an easier way and have more options. Good product quality will open more markets, but bad quality products, there are not going to be many buyers, and premiums will not be that good for those. In all these markets, we import organic cotton, organic corn, and organic wheat in the US. There is a place for local productions. There is a segment of organic consumers that associates organic production with local productions too, which will also prioritize local productions over imports, especially for those products that goes to food consumptions like bread or flours. So now let's talk a little about how unique organic marketing is and the difference that we have with conventional marketing. In this market, as well as in conventional market, you can also be your own agent, use a broker, or be part of cooperatives or farmer groups. There are not that many grain elevators that could handle or certify organic. You can be your own agent and do all the marketing yourself. Organic marketing requires more time and higher cost for the timing that is required, and basically because you're going to spend a lot of time on the phone with buyers trying to discover prices. prices are not available around the corner. There is no Chicago that will tell us what is the price. So it is required to have constant communication with buyers to know what is going on the market. Most of these growers probably build a long-term relationship with buyers after working with them for so long. Contracting with an agent or a broker has a lot of benefits too. First, you don't have to spend that much time looking for markets. They might have more negotiation power than you have. They might have more market channels that you have. They might help you with the paperwork. And sometimes buyers rely on them to look for their inputs because they rather talk with only one person than having to go and talk with a lot of farmers. In many cases, traders will give growers advice on how to produce and harvest also a top quality organic crop. The downside is that there is a commission that most of the times is paid if you have better prices or, considering the time you are not spending marketing. Marketing cooperatives are available in most sectors and are basically run by producers that want to pull their products, gain volume, have more negotiation power, invest in elevator processing plants, and have more stable price. It's good to find out about the cooperatives near you, how they work, and if you will be able to work with them and be part of them. There are buyers and brokers that will offer also you a transitional program to help you to finance that transition, those 3 years before you can start selling organic products when you start. And they might contract or not, that depends on the buyer of the agent, to purchase all your production. This might be really helpful for some farmers who are starting into the business, that you might want to consider that too. Marketing organics is different than marketing conventional crops. We are not selling commodities where we have multiple buyers. We are selling products with special characteristics, and especially products that are going to be used by high demanding consumers. Good producers will know where these markets are and will know how to negotiate, and will establish themselves as reliable suppliers through a long-term relationship with buyers. You need to build long-term relationship with buyers. There are not that many buyers, and having a strong relationship with them or agent is extremely important. The most important thing when we talk about relationship is that they know that you are reliable and there is fluid communication. This will also help you to understand what they're looking for, what new products are there, how can you improve, and what are the chances of growing. In terms of price disclosure, as we said before, there is no Chicago to have a reference on what is going on with the prices and fundamentals. That heavily depends on relationship with buyers, agents, co-op, and intermediates to find about prices and requirements. USDA reports organic price every 2 weeks approximately, depends on the products you're having, and not in every product. This is not that often, and it might be outdated. There are companies or trade associations that will help you to keep you updated with prices. Marketing requires time and higher cost, requires organic certification paperwork, quality tests, and spending more time to find out about prices. So as we said before, one of the characteristics of organics marketing is there is no Chicago or Kansas or any other future market that we can use to hedge our production prices and value. There are no relationship between those markets that we can use, and supply and demand is different than in conventional markets. There are, though, forward contracts that can be used to hedge your production. Those forward contracts are mainly used for food grade products, and it's very important to understand and read the contract very well. Spot selling is very common for wheat and corn especially. Most of the times it requires that a farmer to have on-farm storage that will keep your grain in good conditions. Try to avoid those silo bags, those big white silo bags that I use a lot, and I think that were very good for certain places, but they're not that good to keep the quality of the product, because you don't want to lose any quality that will lead you to receive a lower price. Also, be careful in the percentage you're planning to hedge, since it's not easy to find your product with your characteristics so easy in the market. This is not as conventional that if you don't have the grain, you can purchase it from your neighbor. Now, in this case, if you sell much more than what you're going to harvest, it's gonna be very difficult to find an organic producer that has the same quality that you agree on to deliver. There are contract options where you can contract the acres rather than the number of bushels. And this might be very useful, especially for producers who are starting, or producers that are not sure how much are they going to be able to produce given where they are located or the weather they have. So consider and analyze both options to hedge your production. Most organic plants will require a crop rotation, or the use of cover crops if you are continuous growing the same crop. Your marketing plan should consider how to market all your products on your rotation and that you have a buyer for them. Just be careful in only considering a market for one product. Consider all of them. And you can also add some sort of list of enterprise onto your rotation that will benefit you. Chemical drift contamination and or GMO contamination, in most places they will test for chemicals and GMO contamination, which can make that your shipment is rejected and you have to sell it to the normal market at a much lower price per unit, but with a much higher production cost per unit. If possible, be sure to leave buffers, and every equipment that comes from the outside is well cleaned, especially combines and trucks if you are custom hiring them. Be prepared for farm visits, equipment checks, and be ready to be visited. Some buyers like to do it with their clients, and it's important for them that things look well. This is not something that is very common in conventional grain production, but that's something very common in organics. Transition to non-GMOs. During the transition to organic certification, you must be able to sell your products as non-GMOs. Some grains we are already producing conventionally, they are already non-GMO, but depending on the crop you are growing, you must be able to do it. But even though most probably these prices now are going to be much closer to the conventional market price. Before delivering, sending a truck, be sure that the buyer has a copy of your organic certification paperwork. Perform a quick test for GMO or pesticide residuals so there is no surprises when your truck is there. For food grade products, the buyer might want a sample, and they will want is to be sure that the entire shipment is the same as that sample. Now, when we talk about requirements for pre-cleaning and moisture, you might have some wheat seeds, probably a little more than normal, and it might require doing a pre-cleaning before going to the markets, and that will depend, of course, where you are delivering. Remember that you might have discounts if the products that not meet the required standards. In the case of moisture, check with delivery. You might have to leave those parts of the field that have higher moisture and come back later and harvest those later. In some of these places, they do not have the equipment to do pre-cleaning or drying, so you may have to do it yourself. If there are any problems with your delivery production, it is recommended to talk with them ahead of time. Remember that there are not that many producers that can use to purchase that product from if you don't have it. And they also might meet their own schedules. We want to have long-term relationship with our buyers, and we want to be reliable, and we want to have consistency in our products. Remember to clean trucks, especially if you're going to custom hire them. Now, storage facilities, and that's an important thing. Farm storage is not essential, but it is much easier with your own storage facilities. Commercial storage of grain elevators for organic products is difficult to find. If possible, farm storage is a big plus for organic productions since you are not forced to deliver and do all the logistics while harvesting with not that many buyers that might not unload as fast as you deliver. Moreover, it gives you the chance to keep part of your grain to negotiate better later. Also consider having storage facilities that will keep the grain in great condition. Try to avoid silo bags. Remember that a quality problem, not meeting the requirement standards, might lead you to sell your grain as conventional. Organic farmers might have to deal with more contract than conventional farmers. And remember that it's a good thing to check them with a lawyer. Most of the information we are going to talk about you can find in the following guide, which I strongly recommend you all to read, which is called Farmer's Guide to Organic Contracts, and was written by the Farmers Legal Action Group. This guide is mainly focused for certifying organic farm operations. First things we notice when we read that is that we have to read the contract and we need to understand the contract and which risks and responsibilities we are assuming when we sign it. We need to know what are the parties and contract relationships and obligations and what happens if someone fails to fully perform the contract. We need to know the ground rules, what happens if there is a disaster. Farmers should consider adding organic-friendly disaster clauses that might consider pesticide contamination or GMO pollen drift. We need to know about the duration, termination, and what happens if the buyer becomes insolvent. Also, how the price is going to be determined, and the quantity and quality also should be stated, if it is per acre or per bushel contract. Similarly, where or when the quality is going to be determined, who will do the test, and if case there is a dispute. Farmers have to understand the risks are taken with that contract in terms of prices, payments, quality, rejection. They need to know what happens if something goes wrong. The buyer can force you to fully perform what is stated in the contract, and you cannot assume that not being able to perform the contract will be excused, especially if prices go in the wrong direction for you and you have to fulfill that contract at a much higher cost. Thank you very much for your time. Our goal today was to give you an idea about organic market trends, what is going on in the market prices, and also to talk about the unique organic marketing characteristic you might face when getting into organics. Hope you all enjoyed the presentation, and please don't hesitate to contact me for any further questions. Below or there you can find my personal information. Thank you again, and you all be safe.